There we go. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Technology and I are not always friends, apparently. Okay, so today I want to talk about something really near and dear to almost everyone's heart because you cannot tell me that you have never, ever, ever thought about it, especially when you're first starting out and you have invested a little bit of money, you have invested time, you have invested your emotions and your feelings into this business that you are supposed to be doing to get paid, yet the money is not really coming, right? The money is not coming. It's not happening. And, sometimes there are moments when we think to ourselves, like, why do we even do this? Like, we are just ordering products or we are doing reach outs or we are having conversations, but are they leading to anything because you see absolute zero in your bank account? And then you are probably going to take a quick break because you need a little bit mental health break or a little social media break or something. And then you start up again because you got motivated by a Zoom call of some sort, or your upline said, hey, come on, let's get this done. And you're like, yay, I can see it. I can see it happening. But then it doesn't happen, right? And what happens is when you have this thought that it's never going to pay your bills, you are not taking the action that you're needing to do, right? And that is where it breaks. That is what it is. Remember, I always say that you have a thought, that thought sparks an emotion. So when you think, what if my dream business will never make it? What if this illusion of having millions or having financial security or having $1,000 or having $500 or whatever it is that you're after, what if that is an illusion? What if they were right? What if they all were right that said to you, you are a dreamer and you just need to get a real job? What if they say, well, that's nice and dandy with your little hobby of yours. It's enough now. It's time to get a real job. And what if you're terrified of getting a real job because you really kind of want, you're meant for more and you really want to do it? Now, that thought and these feelings are quite elaborate, right? You could possibly have extreme anxiety and panic coming up when someone tells you you need to get a real job, or you are looking at this that if you can't make this business work, you are going to have to get out there, and then what are you going to do with the kids? So this was one of my situations, right? When I first started in online entrepreneurship, I thought to myself, wait a minute, I have 3 kids. The amount of money I would spend on a babysitter would be way more than what I actually would earn per hour. So it didn't make any sense, right? It didn't make any sense. And this is how I was able to get through these beginning times where you didn't make any money, where you were not able to do it. I kept doing the math of like, if I get a part-time job somewhere, I get paid $16. Like I remember back then, Target was hiring, right? And I thought to myself, like, I don't want to have to ask all the time for money. I didn't want to ask my husband, to give me money because I wanted to buy something, or I wanted my own money. And I remember because I wanted to be home with my kids, but I never wanted to be a dependent person, right? I did not want to be the person that had to ask for money ever. And so, I thought to myself, like, first of all, I would have to go work at Target in the middle of the night, so to speak, because during the day I still had to care for my kids. And I'm like, that's kind of stinking. Like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to go somewhere and be outside of the house. And when would I sleep? When would I have time? So that's when I realized this online business was amazing because I could do it while I was being there with my kids. And I feel like this is probably why many of you guys are choosing this business as well, right? You chose it because you can have the location freedom, you can have the time freedom, or if you're working from home in an insurance business or realty, you have this flexibility with this business that you're building online. But when you don't see the results, you have these feelings of maybe I'm not meant for this. Maybe this is not for me. And when you have that, you are going to take a break. Okay. Often that's when you zone out, when you lose your focus, when you just, You're just kind of like taking a moment, step back. That is enough for you to ruin your algorithms, for example. This is enough for you to lose trust with people, because remember, when you are reaching out in the cold market, meaning people that don't know you, if you talk to them for a minute and then you don't talk to them for a few days, and then they probably will not remember you, or they will feel like they're an afterthought. And I know, guys, I am guilty as charged on this, because it's really tough to do. It is really tough to have that consistency to work this through. But this is why walking it free, meaning it's a process, it's a journey, it's a transformation, it's time, right, that you need to invest to make it happen. This is not where you exchange your hour. When you're in entrepreneurship, it's not where you exchange your hour for a dollar amount. That does not work in entrepreneurship. In entrepreneurship, you work a lot first and then you get paid a lot later, but you may not get paid a lot right off the bat. And I feel like this is where the biggest mindset obstacle comes in. So how do you keep this motivation? How do you keep these feelings at bay? How do you reach emotional mastery? What kind of success mindset do you need to adapt to continue and find the motivation? Because I mean, those feelings that we are feeling, being scared, being neglected, possibly being, when we're ghosted, right? Maybe we feel like we don't get what we need, the attention we need, or maybe we get insecure, we start doubting, maybe, all these things. And then we have a coping way. We are coping in certain ways. We are coping by numbing out with food, or with TV possibly, or with social media. But see, when you are working with social media, building a business, that is still different than you actually watching your cats and dog videos on TikTok and having a good time, right? And I know this for a fact, because this literally just happened to me. My views tanked so much because what happened is I did that. I made the mistake of numbing out and watching funny dog and cat videos, and out of the sudden, none of my audience sees anything that I post. So it's kind of like I have to reset, and resetting something takes time. It takes probably 30 days at least for the algorithms to remember, oh, wait a minute, she is talking to women entrepreneurs. She's talking to online business owners. She's talking to network marketers. She's talking to social media people that are building something, right? And so that's basically what it is. So how do you reach and keep the motivation when your feeling is at like wanting you to do something else? Discipline. Okay? Discipline. Discipline is something that is so hard to learn when you don't have it. I am not going to lie. It is not an easy thing. And if you are a parent, you should train your children to be disciplined now, because I tell you, it may feel hard in the moment, but at the same time, it's so much harder when real life challenges are happening for you and you have to pay bills and the money is not coming, and you are finding yourself super anxious because you don't know how to do the things when you need to do them, because you have learned how to let your emotions guide you. You have learned how your emotions will just be okay, and you should feel your emotion. Yes, you should feel your emotions to process them. You should definitely feel your emotions to process them, but you cannot let your actions be guided by your emotions. You will not have the success. Okay? So when you don't know where the money is coming from, you have to examine your habits. You have to examine, what do you do every single day? Is it moving you forward to the goal that you have, or is it taking you away from the goal that you have? When is the best time for you to work your business? When is the best time when you have the biggest energy? What are your talents? What are you good at? What is drawing your energy? What is giving you energy, right? These things are really, really important to be aware of, and then working into your DMO, your daily mode of operations, so that, And you're doing this so you can be consistent every single day. I've listened to a podcast today earlier where the influencer was talking about the amount she posts and does. So she does 3 to 4 posts every single day, 7 days a week, multiple platforms, and she does it every single day for 5 years. That is the amount of consistency that you are going to need to have to be building an audience, building following, building this. Now, when you don't have that clearly, right? You obviously, I'm talking to you who are first starting out, and you are needing to become this person that you want to become. It's my goal here for you is to have an expectation of real, okay? Because I feel like these days, like, we have been lied to for so many years. We've been told that this industry is super simple, and that this industry is easy, and that the job is easy, and oh, you can just do it in the nooks and crannies of your day. You cannot do it in the nooks and crannies of your day. Not if you want to build a successful business. Now, if you want to make a couple $100 for your products that you're wanting to re-earn, if you want to make a couple $100 with your warm market, meaning your friends and family, yeah, that's definitely doable very quickly. But when you don't want to sell to your friends and families, if you want to build something that is sustainable for longer, you need to have a system. You need to have a process. You need to have a system and a process for lead generation, meaning you need to bring in leads continuously all the time. Then you need to have a system and process to warm up these leads, right? Because strangers are not just going to buy from you. So you have to have a system for that. Then you need to have a system that lets you evaluate whether or not they are a good fit or not, right? Then you need to have a system that helps you to close them and sort them. Yes, no, maybe, right? And then you are needing to keep track of them. And once you've made that sale, you also have to follow through. You have to make customer service. You have to blah, 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 blah. There's a lot of different aspects to building a business. See, and if you do not know these systems and the way, you need to get someone to teach you this. See, and I feel like this is where we are having wrong expectations again, right? And I'm here to help you because I don't want you to fall into this trap of being disappointed, because building an online business is actually a good thing. If you are a mom, you are able to do it. You do not have to go work at night at Target to make a little bit of money. You can make it at home while your kiddos are sleeping, while they are sick, while they are you can be there, but you can't do it unorganized. You need to have knowledge. You need to have organization. You cannot be inconsistent and have habits that are all over the place. That will not work. If that's the case, you're wasting your money on your products right now, unless you love those products, clearly. But you know what I'm saying, right? You're not making the money that you want to make because you don't have the systems in place. You must have systems in place in order to make that work. Now, once you have these systems, once you know what you're talking about, and if you need help, please let me know. Comment grow underneath here in the video that you're watching, or this live stream. My gosh, I can't even this live stream. Comment grow, please, and I will send you the details on the $27 mentorship community that I'm running and that I'm building. Literally, this is $27 a month. Unless you want one-on-one coaching, then obviously it's going to go up, but $27 right now for this group. This is weekly coaching calls. This is weekly guidance. You can ask me questions and I will train on them. Whatever it is that you need to know, I will train on them, customized to you in our coaching sessions. And then you can tell me what you need, or you can sign up for a one-on-one coaching within that time slot. It's beneficial for you. Okay, so $27 a month. What else? Where else? Think about this. Can you get training that teaches you how to do an online sales job? Okay, where? Tell me for $27 where you can find that. Nowhere, right? Because only walking it free. The reason why I do this is because I am so passionate about building online businesses. This is a true answer for so many. Okay. I remember I could not have a normal side part-time job. I couldn't, but I didn't have anybody really training me for the amount of money that I was able to afford. I mean, I had to put my coachings on credit cards, and it was really painful, not going to lie. It was really painful. I was so worried about this. I felt so selfish back then. And, I just don't want this to happen unless you want it to happen, right? I mean, I still believe that even if you put a little bit of skin in the game, like meaning you invest, I have a Black Friday special going on right now, invest a little bit on a credit card, it will actually make you move, because that's what happened to me, right? The pressure of having that debt was able to let me accelerate and learn more. But everyone is different, so you pick your price point, you pick the solution that is for you. But what I am going to tell you is you need to start treating this side hustle as a business. You need to start getting organized, and when you're organized, yeah, you can then do it in the nooks and crannies of the day. But see, it's got to be in an organized way. You can say, I'm going to do 15 minutes of lead generation. I'm going to do 15 minutes of content creation. I'm going to do 15 minutes of customer service. But see, if you are all over the place and you're doing something sometime, now you're being inconsistent. And when you're inconsistent, you don't have a reach. When you're inconsistent, you don't build trust. When you're inconsistent, you lose the tracks, you lose your leads, and you lose track of them. Can't tell you over the years how many times I looked back into my messenger and thought to myself, like, oof, I've never answered that person. Sorry if you're watching now, but it's like these things are happening, and we are human, right? I mean, yes, we are in the time of AI now, but we're still human. And so we are still having to tell AI what we want and what we need and how we need to do things and so on and so forth. So it is very, very important that you have your habits under control, that you show up in a way that is good for you. If you are trying to copy your upline, if you are trying to do what they do, you're like, success leaves clues, right? Well, you could think success leaves clues, and that means you need to do what she does. If she's extroverted and if she's doing a gazillion different events and loving to be a gift giving person, she loves to make gifts, she loves to like all that stuff, that is great. But can you imagine how stressful this is going to feel for you? How you are so exhausted just thinking about this? This is not your way to build a business, but that does not mean that you can't make money. That does not mean that you can still make money. You can still get something taken care of for you if you are building it your way. Okay, that's what it is. You have to make it authentic to you. You have to build your business around your personality, because otherwise you are not going to sustain it. That's really what it is. You can't sustain something that's not natural to you. If you try that, which so many of you are trying that, if you try that, what's going to happen is that you are actually going to just exhaust yourself and then quit, right? Because you're going to have thoughts of like, I'm so exhausted. Again, those exhausting feelings make you feel defeated maybe or frustrated, and you are not taking the action that you need to do. So learning how to be aware, having clarity around your thoughts, then being able to reframe these thoughts to make it fitting your needs and your purpose and your motivation, now not only lets you keep going, right? Your nervous system doesn't shut down because of bad feelings. It just keeps going naturally, but it also will fuel you and bring you passion, because I tell you something, I love helping people walk it free. I love talking. Believe it or not, I love talking. I love teaching. I love training. I love doing all these things that lights me up. So, as I'm working, because I've made it mine, as I'm working, I'm also getting fueled, because now I do something that I love. Now, let me tell you, if you are a nerd, right? You like ingredients, you like looking at things, and you like looking at data and making it. But now you're forced to be constantly working and selling something in a blue personality style party and events and stuff. Do you think you're going to have joy doing that business? You're probably not. You're going to need to find a way to geek out on the things that bring you passion, because that is the energy, that is the vibe that is going to come across. And then you need to like attract those people that like what you like versus you trying to just do something else. So instead of thinking now, this is what I'm going to leave you with. Instead of thinking now, my business will never pay the bills, I want you to reframe this and say, how can my business pay my bills? What do I need to do right now? Where do I need to improve? Where do I need to change? How do I make this happen for me? If you need help, come and grow, and I'll send you some info. See y'all tomorrow.